Okay, so I had to remove the fender, as you can see. There's several, there's 4 main bolts. I didn't shoot them, I just shot them in the first video. There's 4 main silver bolts that go on the up and underside. That's these, or 5, excuse me. That's these 5 right here. And then there is, there are, for the shroud itself, there are these little Christmas tree type retainers. I used this tool right here. I got from Harbor Freight. You know, it comes in a pack. These things are great. They work really well to pull those plugs out without cracking them and breaking them. As you can see, there's a little bit of an angle to pry them out. Those things work really well. Let's see. This one, odd-looking one, for whatever reason, that goes through the body here, up underneath the you know, the shroud. When you pop it into place, it goes straight through, and I couldn't figure out why that thing is there. Actually, you know what? Now that I look at it, I think it threads up onto this. That's why that looks so odd. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, it's an inner thread. So what this does is it threads up through the fender, I guess, whatever you want to call that, the shroud on housing on the inside, and holds this in place. So anyway, it just utilizes that body mount bolt. And then there's another bracket that I did not take off, where it also hangs onto this bracket, the fender. Got to remember to make sure you disconnect your light from the inside of the marker light, and then the fender comes free. There are these sort of swivel, and it's a good thing they swivel too, clip mounts that go all down along the ridge of the fender wall here, and those in turn clip into these recessed edges here along the edge of the whole fender on the inside. So basically this is backwards. Here we go. So if you're looking at it from front to back, front to being to my right, that's what it looks like that when you take it all off and you pull the Christmas trees out and everything else. Okay, so that's that for the fender. But that bugger was really difficult to get to, and Lakshman helped me a lot. I mean, I couldn't believe that we could get to this pig, because there is a bolt, there's a lower bolt here, and then there's one that's up here out of sight, behind where the, I guess that's a, what is that, a reclaim tube maybe, for the EGR. But behind that is another bolt, and you can't see it. Even with the camera, I can't get back there. But this sucker right here is loose, and they all loosen up pretty easily. And these right here, by the way, are not 10 millimeter. These are 8 millimeter bolts on this one. And the main mount bolts that mount to the exhaust assembly are, those are 10 millimeter. There's one there on the bottom, and again, one sort of up and behind the EGR, and you can't see, it's out of sight, but there's one back there. It's going to be a bugger to line up too. We're going to have to do it by feel, but when we pull that out there, we're going to be able to pull this thing out of here and then hopefully put the new EGR back in place. But that tube that you see there with the 8 millimeter bolts, that connects all the way up here. That's this copper looking one. I already disconnected this flange here that holds it down in place on top of the valve housing here. I guess that's what that is. So I pulled that off, and as you can see, this sort of wants to come free, but since this tube is rigid, not flexible, I'm gonna have to disconnect it from the EGR down there first, and then I may not have even had to do this, to be honest. I could probably just attach that back, but just to make things easier when we go to line things back up, I'm gonna leave it loose, and then once I get the EGR mounted and all that stuff, then hopefully we can flex everything back into place, and I'll see you soon.